Have you been experiencing little discomforts lately? Things you just shrug off and tell yourself are part of getting older. Maybe you're finding yourself needing to visit the bathroom more often, especially at night, interrupting that precious sleep. Or perhaps there's a nagging feeling that things just aren't quite working the way they used to, leaving you feeling a bit less confident, maybe even a little worried. It's easy to dismiss these things, to think they're just an inevitable part of the journey after 60. But what if I told you that some of the things we eat every single day might actually be making these issues worse? Sometimes, significantly worse. There's a quiet truth that many don't realize until problems become more persistent. Our diet has a profound impact on systems we might not immediately think about, like our bladder, our prostate, and our kidneys, the parts of us a urologist looks after. These parts of our body are sensitive, and certain foods can really irritate them, cause inflammation, or just make their job much harder. While aging does bring changes, the discomfort and disruption many experience isn't always unavoidable. Often, simple changes to what's on our plate can bring surprising relief and improvement. In this video, we're going to look at 5 common foods or food groups that urologists often caution against, especially for people over 60 because of the specific ways they can negatively affect our urinary and prostate health. Among other things, making mindful choices about these 5 can make a real difference in your comfort, sleep, and overall well-being. Stick with me to the very end, because there's something coming that might truly surprise you about the power you have over these common issues. So, let's dive right in and talk about the first type of food that could be causing more trouble than you realize, particularly as we get a little older. Have you ever stopped to think about processed meats? Things like sausages, bacon, hot dogs, deli meats, cured ham, and even some pre-packaged burgers or chicken nuggets. They're convenient, they can be tasty, and they're found in fridges and freezers everywhere. We've grown up with many of these foods, and they often feature heavily in our meals, from breakfast bacon to a quick sandwich for lunch or sausages for dinner. It feels normal. Right, but here's the thing: urologists, along with many other health professionals, often raise a big red flag about these foods, and for good reason. Processed meats are typically high in several things that aren't great for us in excess, especially as we age and our bodies become a bit more sensitive. They are often loaded with sodium, unhealthy fats, and nitrates or nitrites, which are used as preservatives and to enhance color and flavor. Now, why are these components a concern when we're talking about urological health? Let's break it down. First, consider the sodium content. Processed meats are notoriously high in salt. A few slices of deli ham or a couple of sausages can contain a significant portion of your recommended daily sodium intake. High sodium intake is strongly linked to high blood pressure. While high blood pressure might seem unrelated to your bladder or prostate, it affects your overall vascular system, including the tiny blood vessels in your kidneys. Your kidneys are crucial for filtering waste and producing urine. Anything that stresses your cardiovascular system can impact kidney function over time. Furthermore, high sodium can lead to fluid retention, which might increase the workload on your kidneys and potentially affect bladder function and frequency. It's a bit like putting extra pressure on a system that's already working hard. Beyond the direct impact, many men over 60 experience prostate changes, like benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH), where the prostate gland enlarges. While diet isn't the sole cause of BPH, general inflammation and overall health status influenced by diet can certainly play a role in managing symptoms like frequent urination or difficulty starting and stopping. High sodium diets contribute to systemic inflammation, which isn't helpful for an inflamed or enlarged prostate. Then there are the fats, often saturated in trans fats. Diets high in these types of fats are linked to inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation isn't just about achy joints. It can affect organs at a cellular level. For men, chronic inflammation is increasingly being studied for its potential role in prostate health, including BPH and even prostate cancer risk. While the link is complex and research is ongoing, Reducing sources of inflammation is generally considered a good strategy for overall health, including maintaining a healthy prostate. For both men and women, inflammation can also affect bladder sensitivity, potentially leading to increased urgency or frequency. Think of it like this. These unhealthy fats can make the internal environment less calm and more prone to irritation. But perhaps the most concerning aspect of processed meats, especially in the context of long-term health, are the nitrates and nitrites. These chemicals can be converted in the body into compounds called nitrosamines, which are known carcinogens. Numerous studies have linked high consumption of processed meats to an increased risk of various cancers, including colorectal cancer. While the direct link to urological cancers like bladder or kidney cancer from processed meats specifically might be less established than, say, smoking, promoting overall cellular health and reducing exposure to known carcinogens is just plain good sense. As we age, our cells accumulate damage over time, and reducing exposure to factors that can cause DNA damage is a crucial part of preventing age-related diseases. It's about giving your body the best chance to repair and protect itself. So, what does this mean in practical terms? It doesn't necessarily mean you can never have a sausage again, but it means being mindful of how often and how much you're eating these foods. If your breakfast often includes bacon or sausage, consider switching to eggs, or perhaps lean poultry like chicken or turkey, or plant-based options, instead of a deli meat sandwich for lunch. Try grilled chicken, tuna packed in water, or load up on vegetables, hummus, and avocado. When you're grocery shopping, take a moment to look at the ingredients list and the nutrition label, especially the sodium content. You might be surprised at how much it varies even within the same type of product. Choosing lower sodium options, though they can still be processed, is a step in the right direction. Making this change isn't just about avoiding the negatives, it's about making space for positives. When you reduce processed meats, you naturally create opportunities to eat more whole, unprocessed foods, fresh fruits, vegetables, lean proteins like fish or beans, and whole grains. These foods are packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fiber, all of which support a healthy body, including a healthy urinary tract and prostate. Antioxidants, for example, help combat the very inflammation that processed meats can fuel. Fiber supports healthy digestion, which is also indirectly linked to overall abdominal comfort and function. Think about making gradual swaps. Maybe you start by only having processed meat on weekends, or you cut your usual portion size in half and fill the rest of your plate with vegetables. Perhaps you find a brand of nitrate-free chicken sausage with lower sodium as a transitional food. The goal is progress, not necessarily perfection overnight. Every time you choose a piece of grilled chicken over bacon, or a bean salad over deli ham, you're making a choice that supports your body's ability to function smoothly and reduce potential irritants and inflammatory triggers. This isn't about deprivation. It's about choosing foods that actively help you feel better and reduce those pesky discomforts that disrupt your life. Like those frequent trips to the bathroom. It's about giving your bladder and prostate a bit of a break from dealing with ingredients that can make them unhappy. Moving on from processed meats, let's talk about something equally pervasive in our modern diet, and something that urologists often point to as a culprit for irritation, particularly in the bladder: excess sugar and sugary drinks. Now, when I say sugar, I'm not just talking about the sugar you spoon into your tea or coffee, though that's part of it. I'm talking about the added sugars hidden in countless foods and beverages, sodas, fruit juices, even 100% juice in large quantities, sweetened yogurts, pastries, breakfast cereals, sauces, and packaged snacks. It's everywhere. How does sugar affect urological health? There are a few ways. Firstly, consuming too much sugar, especially in liquid form, can lead to rapid spikes in blood sugar. While this is a major concern for diabetes risk, which in turn affects kidney and nerve function, potentially impacting bladder control. Even without diabetes, these sugar spikes can cause systemic effects. One way sugar impacts the urinary tract is through its potential to irritate the bladder lining. For some individuals, high sugar intake can make the urine more concentrated or acidic, which can act as an irritant, leading to increased urgency, frequency, or even a feeling of not fully emptying the bladder. It's similar to how spicy food can irritate some people's digestive system. Sugar can irritate the urinary system for others. Think about drinking a large soda or a big glass of sweetened juice. It's a concentrated dose of sugar and liquid that passes through your kidneys and into your bladder. If your bladder is already a bit sensitive, or if you have conditions like overactive bladder, that sudden influx of sugary fluid can trigger spasms or contractions, making you feel like you need to go right now. Even if your bladder isn't very full, this can be incredibly disruptive, leading to constant worrying about finding a bathroom and interrupting activities you enjoy. Beyond direct irritation, excessive sugar intake contributes significantly to weight gain and obesity. Carrying extra weight, especially around the abdomen, puts increased pressure on the bladder and pelvic floor muscles. This pressure can exacerbate symptoms like stress incontinence leaking when you cough, sneeze, or laugh, or increase the feeling of needing to urinate frequently because the bladder has less space or is under constant strain. For men, abdominal obesity is also linked to worsening symptoms of BPH, likely due to hormonal changes and increased inflammation associated with excess body fat. Furthermore, diets high in sugar often displace more nutrient-dense foods. If you're filling up on sugary snacks or drinks, you're likely not getting enough fiber, vitamins, and minerals from fruits, vegetables, and whole grains that support overall health, including a healthy urinary system. For example, adequate hydration is crucial, but sugary drinks aren't the best way to hydrate. They can dehydrate you in the long run due to how the body processes the sugar. And the sugar itself can be the problem. Pure water is always the best choice for hydration, helping to keep urine diluted and less irritating. So, what can you do to reduce excess sugar? Start by looking at what you drink. Swapping sugary sodas and juices for water, plain tea, or water infused with fruit like lemon or cucumber is one of the single most impactful changes you can make. Be wary of diet drinks too, as artificial sweeteners, which we'll talk about soon, can also be problematic for some bladders. Read labels on packaged foods. Sugar hides under many names: sucrose, glucose, fructose, corn syrup, maltose, dextrose, the list goes on. Look for products with low or no added sugar. Choose plain yogurt and add fresh fruit yourself instead of buying pre-sweetened versions. Opt for whole fruits over juice, as the fiber in whole fruit helps slow down sugar absorption, and you get more nutrients. Cutting back on sugar doesn't have to mean giving up all sweetness forever. It's about being more intentional. Maybe you enjoy a sweet treat after dinner. Could you have a smaller portion? Or swap that piece of cake for a bowl of berries? Could you gradually reduce the amount of sugar you add to your coffee or tea over time? Your taste buds will adjust. And soon, things you used to find appealingly sweet might start tasting too sweet. This change can lead to less bladder irritation, fewer urgent dashes to the bathroom, and just a greater sense of comfort and control throughout your day. It's about nourishing your body in a way that supports all its systems, including the ones that help keep you comfortable and dry. This shift towards less sugar and more whole foods is not just good for your urological health, it's foundational for managing weight, reducing inflammation, and lowering the risk of many age-related diseases. It's a step towards feeling lighter, more energetic, and less bothered by those constant urges. Continuing our look at foods to be cautious about as we age, let's talk about high-sodium processed foods beyond just the meats we discussed. Think about things like canned soups, packaged snacks, crackers, chips, frozen meals, fast food, many sauces and dressings, and even some breads and baked goods. These items are often packed with salt, not just for flavor, but also as a preservative and to improve texture, just like with processed meats. The amount of sodium in these foods can be astonishingly high, often contributing the vast majority of our daily salt intake without us even realizing it. Why is this excess sodium a concern for urological health in people over 60? Again, the primary link is through its effect on blood pressure and kidney function. As we mentioned, high blood pressure is a major risk factor for kidney disease. The kidneys are responsible for filtering excess fluid and waste from your blood, producing urine. When blood pressure is chronically high, it damages the small blood vessels in the kidneys, impairing their ability to filter effectively. This can lead to a decline in kidney function over time, which can affect overall fluid balance and waste removal in the body. While early kidney issues might not have obvious urological symptoms, maintaining healthy kidneys is crucial for overall urinary tract health. Beyond the long-term kidney impact, high sodium intake can also have more immediate effects that might resonate with daily discomfort. Remember how we talked about sodium causing fluid retention? While the body tries to balance sodium levels by holding onto water, this can increase blood volume and pressure. It also means there's more fluid the kidneys need to process, potentially increasing urine production. For someone already dealing with frequency or urgency issues, this extra fluid load can exacerbate those symptoms. It's like constantly topping up a glass that's already quite full, leading to quicker overflows. Some research also suggests that high sodium intake might directly irritate the bladder lining in some individuals, similar to how sugar can. Concentrated urine, which can result from processing a high salt load without sufficient hydration, might be more acidic or contain higher concentrations of waste products that irritate the delicate bladder wall, leading to those familiar feelings of urgency or discomfort. Think about having a salty meal. You might feel thirstier afterward, prompting you to drink more, which then leads to more trips to the bathroom. But even if you don't feel excessively thirsty, the high sodium content is working behind the scenes, potentially putting extra stress on your kidneys and irritating your bladder. This is why consistently high intake of these foods can contribute to ongoing issues rather than just occasional ones. So, how can you reduce high sodium processed foods? Again, reading food labels is key. Look for the sodium content per serving and compare different products. Opt for low sodium or no salt added versions of canned goods like soups and vegetables. When cooking at home, try to use herbs, spices, lemon juice, or vinegar to add flavor instead of relying heavily on salt. Taste your food before automatically adding salt. Many people find that once they start reducing salt intake, their palate adjusts, and they begin to appreciate the natural flavors of food more. Choose fresh or frozen vegetables over canned unless they are no salt added. Prepare meals from scratch more often, as this gives you complete control over the ingredients, especially the salt. Instead of buying salty snacks like chips or pretzels, opt for unsalted nuts, seeds, fresh fruit, or vegetable sticks with hummus. Be mindful when eating out, as restaurant food is often very high in sodium. Don't be afraid to ask for sauces and dressings on the side, and use them sparingly, or request that your meal be prepared with less salt if possible. Making these changes isn't just about managing potential urological issues. It's a powerful step towards better heart health, managing blood pressure, and reducing the risk of stroke. It's about taking control of invisible ingredients that can have a significant impact on how you feel every day. Reducing excess sodium means less pressure on your kidneys, potentially less irritation for your bladder, and fewer urgent dashes to the bathroom. It's about feeling more in control of your body and your daily routine. This step, like reducing processed meats and sugar, frees you up to enjoy your activities without constantly planning around bathroom breaks. Next on our list of foods to be wary of, especially after 60, are artificial sweeteners. These are found in diet drinks, sugar-free candies, low-calorie yogurts, and many other products marketed as healthy or sugar-free. While they might seem like a good alternative to sugar, especially if you're trying to manage blood sugar levels or weight. They can pose their own set of problems, particularly for a sensitive bladder. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, saccharin, sucralose splenda, and others are chemicals designed to taste sweet without adding calories. However, they are not inert substances in the body for many people, particularly those with interstitial cystitis, a chronic bladder pain condition, or overactive bladder. Artificial sweeteners are known bladder irritants when these chemicals are processed by the body and eventually pass into the urine. They can irritate the bladder lining, triggering symptoms like increased urgency, frequency, pain, or discomfort. It's a similar principle to how caffeine or acidic foods can bother some bladders. It's an individual sensitivity, but it's a very common one among people with urinary symptoms. Think about reaching for a diet soda instead of a regular one, thinking you're making a healthier choice. For some people, that diet soda could be contributing more to their bladder frequency or urgency issues than the sugary one would, purely because of the artificial sweetener content. It's a frustrating situation where you're trying to do something good for your health, reducing sugar, but might be inadvertently aggravating another issue. Furthermore, the long-term effects of consuming large quantities of artificial sweeteners are still being studied. While approved for consumption, some research has raised questions about their impact on gut bacteria, the microbiome, which plays a crucial role in overall health, including potentially influencing inflammation and even mood. An unhealthy gut microbiome can contribute to systemic inflammation, which, as we've discussed, is not beneficial for prostate or bladder health. So, if you're experiencing bladder issues and you regularly consume products with artificial sweeteners, it might be worth experimenting with cutting them out to see if your symptoms improve. Read labels carefully, as artificial sweeteners are pervasive. They are in many products you might not suspect. From chewing gum and mints to protein bars and sauces, look for ingredients ending in -ol, like sorbitol, mannitol, and xylitol, which are sugar alcohols often used in sugar-free products that can also cause digestive upset in some people and potentially irritate the bladder. What can you use instead if you need sweetness? Consider using small amounts of natural sweeteners like honey, maple syrup, or stevia, a plant-based sweetener, if your bladder tolerates them. However, the best approach for bladder health is often to try and reduce your preference for intense sweetness altogether. As mentioned before, opting for plain water, unsweetened tea, or infusing water with natural flavors from fruits and herbs is the most bladder-friendly way to hydrate. When it comes to food, choosing whole, unprocessed options is usually the best bet, as they contain natural sugars balanced with fiber and nutrients, or no added sweeteners at all. Eliminating artificial sweeteners might be challenging at first because they are so common, but it can be a really eye-opening experiment. If you notice a reduction in urgency or frequency after cutting them out for a couple of weeks, you've found a significant trigger for your symptoms. It empowers you to make informed choices about what you consume. It's about listening to your body and identifying what helps you feel most comfortable and symptom-free. This isn't about deprivation. It's about swapping something that might be causing irritation for options that are neutral or even beneficial for your bladder and overall well-being. Making this change supports not just bladder comfort, but potentially gut health and a reduced reliance on overly sweet tastes. It's another step towards feeling more balanced and at ease in your body. Moving on to the final item on our list of foods and drinks that urologists often advise caution about, especially for those over 60. Caffeine. This might be a tough one for many of us, as coffee and tea are beloved daily rituals. Caffeine is a stimulant found in coffee, tea, chocolate, energy drinks, and some sodas. While a morning cup or two might be fine for some, excessive caffeine intake is a well-known bladder irritant and diuretic. As a diuretic, caffeine increases urine production. This means your kidneys produce more urine at a faster rate, filling your bladder more quickly. For someone who already experiences frequent urination or urgency, this effect is compounded, leading to even more trips to the bathroom. It's like putting a turbocharger on your urinary system, making it work overtime. Beyond the diuretic effect, caffeine is also a direct bladder irritant for many people, particularly as we age and the bladder wall can become more sensitive. Caffeine can stimulate the bladder muscle, potentially causing contractions or spasms. These spasms are what create that sudden, strong urge to urinate, even when the bladder isn't very full. This is a classic symptom of overactive bladder, and caffeine is a primary trigger for many individuals dealing with this. It can lead to feelings of losing control, needing to rush to the bathroom, and significantly impact quality of life, making social activities or travel anxiety-inducing. Think about how you feel after a strong cup of coffee compared to drinking plain water. If you notice that within an hour or two of having coffee or strong tea, you start needing to go to the bathroom more often or with more urgency, that's your bladder telling you it's reacting to the caffeine. The effect isn't always immediate or obvious, though. Chronic high caffeine intake can contribute to ongoing bladder sensitivity over time, even when you're not actively feeling the immediate urge spike. For men, while caffeine's primary effect is on the bladder, frequent bladder irritation and urgency can overlap and interact with symptoms of an enlarged prostate BPH. Managing bladder symptoms is a key part of managing overall lower urinary tract symptoms, and reducing caffeine can be a significant help in this area. So, what can you do about caffeine? This doesn't necessarily mean you have to give up your morning ritual entirely, but it's worth experimenting with reducing your intake or switching to less caffeinated options. If you experience bladder issues, try switching to decaf coffee or tea. Be aware that even decaf can contain small amounts of caffeine, and some individuals are sensitive even to those low levels, or to other compounds in coffee tea. Herbal teas like chamomile or peppermint, though some herbals can also be irritants. Its trial and error are generally caffeine-free and can be a soothing alternative. Hot water with lemon can also be a comforting warm drink. If you find it hard to cut back, try a gradual reduction. If you drink 3 cups of coffee a day, cut back to 2 for a week, then 1. Or try mixing regular coffee with decaf, gradually increasing the proportion of decaf. Pay attention to how your body responds. Does reducing caffeine lessen your urgency or frequency? Does it help you sleep through the night without as many bathroom trips? This is a very common trigger for nighttime urination nocturia. Be mindful of hidden caffeine sources too, like certain pain relievers, chocolate, especially dark chocolate, and energy bars. Reading labels is crucial. Reducing caffeine intake, especially combined with increasing pure water intake, can make a dramatic difference in managing bladder symptoms. It's about calming the bladder down, reducing the frequency of spasms, and allowing it to fill more comfortably before signaling the need to go. It's another way to gain back control and reduce the impact that urinary issues can have on your daily life. It's a simple change that can lead to feeling much more comfortable, less anxious about finding a bathroom, and getting more uninterrupted sleep. So, we've talked about 5 types of foods and drinks that urologists often caution against, particularly as we navigate the years after 60. We've covered processed meats with their high sodium, unhealthy fats, and nitrates, and how they contribute to inflammation and potential long-term health risks, including affecting prostate health. We looked at the impact of excess sugar and sugary drinks, not just on weight and blood sugar, but on directly irritating the bladder lining and increasing urgency. We discussed how high-sodium processed foods put extra pressure on our kidneys and can also irritate the bladder, contributing to frequency issues. We explored artificial sweeteners found in diet products and their surprising role as common bladder irritants for many people. And finally, we touched on caffeine, a powerful diuretic and bladder stimulant that can significantly worsen urgency and frequency, including those disruptive nighttime trips. Now, I know hearing about these 5 things might feel a little overwhelming, maybe even a bit restrictive. It's easy to think, what's left to eat or drink? But the message here isn't about perfection or eliminating everything you enjoy overnight. It's about awareness and empowering you to make informed choices. It's about understanding that those nagging discomforts, the frequent bathroom breaks, the urgency, the feeling that things aren't quite right, aren't always just getting older. Sometimes, they are your body reacting to what you're putting into it. Think of these 5 points as tools in your toolkit for better health and comfort. You don't have to tackle them all at once. Maybe you start by focusing on reducing processed meats for a few weeks and see how you feel. Then perhaps you try swapping your sugary soda for water. Then you experiment with cutting back on caffeine. Small, gradual changes are often the most sustainable and effective. Your body has an amazing capacity to heal and respond positively when you nourish it with foods that support its functions rather than irritate them. Reducing these foods isn't just about preventing problems, it's about improving your quality of life right now. Imagine sleeping through the night without getting up multiple times. Imagine being able to go out or travel without constantly scouting for the nearest restroom. Imagine feeling more comfortable and less anxious about your body. These aren't unrealistic dreams. For many people, making dietary adjustments like these can lead to significant improvements in these exact areas. Remember, you have more control than you might think over how you feel. These 5 food groups represent common culprits, but everyone is different. Paying attention to your own body, noticing how you feel after eating or drinking certain things, is the most valuable tool you have. If you suspect a particular food or drink is bothering you, try eliminating it for a week or 2 and see if your symptoms improve. This personal detective work is incredibly powerful. Making these changes also opens the door to discovering new, delicious foods that are wonderful for your body. Lean proteins, colorful fruits and vegetables, healthy fats from avocados and nuts, whole grains. Focusing on these nutrient-dense foods makes you feel better overall, supports your energy levels, helps manage weight, and reduces inflammation throughout your body. It's a holistic approach to aging vibrantly and comfortably. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. If you have a day where you eat something on the list, it's okay. It's about the overall pattern, not about being perfect. Just get back on track with your next meal. Be kind to yourself. This journey is about progress, not perfection. We're all navigating the changes that come with getting older. But it doesn't mean we have to accept discomfort as inevitable. By being mindful of what we eat, especially these 5 common items that can irritate our urinary system and contribute to inflammation, we can actively work towards feeling better, having more energy, and experiencing fewer bothersome symptoms. Taking these steps is an act of self-care, a way of honoring your body and supporting its ability to function well so you can continue to enjoy your life to the fullest. I truly hope this information has been helpful and empowering for you. Knowing why certain foods might be problematic gives you the power to make choices that serve you better. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel and signals that this is the kind of information you want to see more of. And I would absolutely love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you noticed that certain foods make your urinary symptoms worse? What are your biggest challenges or successes with changing your diet? Sharing your experiences can help others in this community feel less alone and find new ideas. And please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We share practical tips and information every week to help you live your best, most comfortable life at every age. Thank you so much for watching and for taking an active role in your health journey. Live your best life at every age.